By popular demand, this is the entire breakdown of all the investments that I have inside my ISA as a 31-year-old award-winning chartered tax advisor who's trying to pursue FIRE by 40. First up, I'm starting with the individual stocks that I have, which are only Nvidia and Microsoft. Microsoft, I'm down at the moment, but I'm not too concerned because it's a long-term bet. And Nvidia, I'm up almost 100%, and I intend to hold this for the long term. Next, I have my core holdings, which is my global equities pie, which invests into a developed world, emerging market, and UK ETF. I've split it out in this way instead of using one all world because I actively want to invest into emerging markets more compared to what one all world ETF would. I then have the UK because I want a home tilt, and that protects me against currency swings and adds value and dividend exposure as a counterweight to my heavy US tech tilt. Both of these iShare ETFs are ESG screened, which means they exclude investing in companies involved in weapons, tobacco, fossil fuels, human rights violations, and poor corporate governance. And in addition, the developed world ETF also has the climate transition benchmark overlay, which requires the fund to actively reduce its carbon exposure over time, aligned with the Paris Agreement goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees. Next up, I have my growth investments pie, which is predominantly into thematic ETFs. Of this bucket, I have 25% each into a space ETF, a semiconductor ETF, and a NASDAQ 100 ETF. These are my core growth holdings, as I believe the space and AI industries still have a long runway ahead of us. I then have 15% into a quantum computing ETF and 10% into a genomics ETF. These two are more speculative bets, which is why they're smaller, but I believe long term they have potential to grow. And then finally, we have my clean energy and commodities pie. This is made up of 3 ETFs into clean energy, including solar, wind, and nuclear, as well as into strategic metals, which are needed for the clean energy transition, such as lithium and copper. With demand for AI ever increasing, ironically, it's also increasing need for clean energy to support that transition. So I'm not just investing in the sexy names, I'm investing in the plumbing and the architecture that goes into supporting those industries. I then have 10% into a catch-all commodities ETF as an inflation hedge, with the remaining 25% into a company called Wheaton Precious Metals, and this is my way of getting exposure to gold and silver. This is the largest royalty streaming company in the world, meaning that it finances miners in exchange for the right to buy their metals at a fixed price. And unlike most other ETFs where you either buy physical gold or the miners themselves, this sits in the middle and is a AAA ESG rated company, meaning that every mining agreement is screened for human rights, environmental impact, and governance before committing capital. If you want to check out these ETFs in more detail, then comment pie below and I'll send you a link to the pies that I've spoken about in this video. And if you like investing content just like this, then be sure to hit that follow button.